Hey YouTube, this is Alexander, and today I'm going to be bringing you my full video review of the LG G Watch. So just to sort of recap some of the specs, it is running Android Wear. It's got a 1.65 IPS LCD display. It's 9.95 millimeters thick. It weighs 63 grams. It's got a 400 milliamp hour battery, Qualcomm Snapdragon 400 processor, clocked at 1.2 gigahertz, Bluetooth 4.0 of course, 4 gigs of internal memory, 512 megabytes of RAM. It does charge wirelessly, and it's got an accelerometer, compass, and gyroscope. So let's go ahead and take a look at it. So first things first is the design and feel. Because you are going to be wearing this thing, it is a watch. I gotta say that the design is definitely understated, but the watch band feels pretty nice. Now it is sort of a rubbery material, and I haven't really noticed any discomfort while wearing it, other than the fact that my wrist does tend to get kind of sweaty underneath that plain looking watch face, and that could be due in part because I don't wear a watch often or ever before this, and also because it's been very hot here in Southern California lately. So hopefully when it cools down, my wrist won't get as sweaty, but overall there hasn't really been any discomfort wearing it. It's a pretty comfortable watch, although the design isn't really the most beautiful, I would say. Now the watch bands are 22 millimeters in size and they're not proprietary, so pretty much any watch band will be able to be slapped on here, and I'm probably going to go ahead and change it. I've actually ordered a new watch band just to kind of spice up the look a bit. So just continue on real briefly about the design is that it is definitely a curious looking watch because it doesn't have a traditional face and it doesn't really look like a traditional watch. And I've had some people look at it kind of curiously, maybe wondering what it is. And I actually had one lady ask me if that was the Apple Watch. And, I told her no, because of course it isn't. So, people are going to kind of see this as not really a traditional watch, and they may even confuse it with the Apple Watch. So I thought that was something that was kind of interesting to note. So something that's a little bit odd about the LG Watch and smartwatches in general is talking to them. It's not really mainstream yet to talk to your smartwatch, and so you can seem kind of odd talking to a watch walking down the sidewalk or reading whatever you have on it, swiping things away, and it definitely can get a little awkward if you're talking to the watch, dictating some text, and it doesn't actually input properly, writes the wrong thing, and then you got to go back and talk to it again. So it is something that's a little weird, and it's going to have to kind of grow into the culture. Now, the display, something that you're going to be looking at all the time when you're using this guy. It looks okay. I mean, the pixel density isn't really the highest, but then again, it is just a smartwatch, so you're not going to need a ton of pixels. You're not going to be streaming Netflix or anything like that. You just kind of basically need some pixels to be able to see what's going on, what information is being shown. So it doesn't need the highest resolution display. So it looks okay. It does get really bright though, as I mentioned in my unboxing, which I really enjoyed. Even at 3 brightness, I can see it out in direct sunlight, 3 out of 6 that is. And so I really enjoyed that. But something that's a little bit less enjoyable is the voice dictation. I found it to be subpar to that of voice dictation on an Android smartphone. For whatever reason, it just isn't as accurate. Maybe it's the microphone, maybe it's the software, I'm not sure, but it just isn't as accurate. And I found it to only be really truly accurate when you're dictating something that's relatively short. So saying yes or no, or hey, what's up, or I'll be there in 5, something like that seems to be a little bit more accurate more often than if you're trying to actually compose an email, which you can do on here. I wouldn't recommend because of the voice dictation problems, but you can do it. It just sometimes doesn't really work and says didn't catch that, and that can just all be a little frustrating. But again, if you're like me and you're only using it to quickly reply, you shouldn't have too much of a problem. But when you start to type out an entire sentence or two, that can be where the problems start to arise in voice dictation. Now, reminders are perfect. I've noticed that when I'm dictating a reminder, again, because it's sort of shorter, it works just fine, and the reminder goes through and everything is set and in place. Now moving into battery life, which is something you guys are all probably curious about. How does the battery hold up with this display and the processor and all the voice dictation and always on? I gotta tell you, it holds up pretty well. I can easily get through 2 days, and that's if I'm putting the watch through normal use. I mean, just reading messages, somewhat dictating. I don't do a lot of Google search on here, but with everything basically turned on and enabled on my notifications, I can get through 2 days. This watch has a really good battery, I would say. It makes use of that battery really nicely, and I just have no complaints in the battery life department. There are times when I use it for My days are relatively short, but in my testing for an entire day, I could still make it through 2 days. But during my regular days, which, like I said, are pretty short, I noticed that I can end the day with maybe 70%, 60%, and that's with 3 brightness and it always being on. And I can basically not have to worry about putting it in the charger overnight and then just picking it up the next day and continuing to use it. It's that good. I mean, this battery life, I have found anyway, to be more than pretty decent for me. So the charger I found has been actually pretty cool. It's a little cradle with some adhesive under it, so when you place it down, it doesn't wobble and move around when you're putting the watch in and out of the cradle. And you can basically just put the watch into the cradle and it will charge wirelessly. I found that to be ultra convenient, and it may not look as nice as something like the Moto 360, but I've never had wireless charging before, I'll admit. And so this is the first time I'm actually able to just put something down on top of a charger and have it charge. And I gotta say, it's really cool. It's sort of, I hope, the future of charging. I hope more charging is done this way in the future. And I just really enjoy the ease of being able to just place my watch down on the charger and not worry about plugging something in and out. So next, after battery life, you guys might be wondering how the performance is on this guy. It's got a relatively lower processor compared to smartphones, although compared to just a few years ago, this processor is kind of a beast for just being in a watch. It's a Qualcomm Snapdragon 400 clocked at 1.2 gigahertz, and I gotta say, you get every hertz out of this guy. It just flies through whatever you put it through. I've had maybe a hiccup here or there in the week I've had it, and it hasn't really been anything that's hindered the performance. And most of the time when I'm waiting on the watch, it's because I'm waiting for the communication to go through from the watch to my phone, get it down from Google servers using the internet, and then pull it back. So usually when I'm waiting, it's an internet issue, not really a performance issue. This thing just basically flies through everything you throw it at, and I really enjoyed that. So the LGG watch has quite a few watch faces, which all look pretty nice. You know, I like to stick with the digital watch face just because it's the easiest for me to quickly glance at and read, and it just looks nice. And as you guys may know, I like my simplicity and minimalism on my devices, and that sort of accomplishes it. And I don't really have a lot of third-party app integration, so you're not going to find a lot of apps here. I just basically use the bare bones, notifications in Google Now, and that's all I need. So overall, the watch is actually a pretty cool, nifty little watch. I would say that the performance is fine, battery life is great, the design is pretty comfortable, the watch band is kind of comfortable. It doesn't look the prettiest, so that if that's an issue to you, just take that in mind. But overall, it's a great smartwatch, although I don't really feel it serves a true purpose yet. And if you guys want to know more about that and why I kind of feel that way, go ahead and check out my thoughts on Android Wear, which will be linked down below, a video I did recently, and it'll also be linked at the end of this video if you guys want to check that out. I give you all my thoughts on Android Wear in its current state. But anyway, that was pretty much it. My LGG watch video review. Great watch at affordable price, but again, it's maybe reserved for those geeks and die-hard Android loyalists, or just tech enthusiasts in general. I'm not sure it's really ready for the mainstream consumer. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, be sure to give it a like down below and subscribe to see more content from me. And that's pretty much going to end the video. I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace.